The following is a Papi Chulo Radio original program. The views and opinions expressed in the commentaries and/or interviews in the following program are solely those of the individuals and are not views of Papi Chulo Radio, its parent, affiliate, or subsidiary companies.
Welcome, foolish mortals, to Horror Hotel, a PapiChuloRadio.com original series, Papi Chulo Radio, Pop Culture on Demand. I am your host and hotel owner, Jeffrey Aruz. We're so glad you could check in. We've been dying to have you. Here on Horror Hotel, we're going to explore some of Hollywood's scariest, most frightening, and creepiest films. Please welcome my co-hosts, Concierge Supervisor Cynthia Boyede.
Hello.
And Guest Services Supervisor Donovan Trott.
Let's get it started.
Before we head on over to the ballroom, let's stop by the front desk where one of our bellhops has a few special announcements.
Good evening. We thank you for your patronage. Please step all the way in and make room for everyone. There's no turning back now. I didn't mean to frighten you prematurely. The real chills come later. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PCR Horror Hotel. Follow Papi Chulo Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube, at Papi Chulo Radio. For more information on Horror Hotel, visit papichuloradio.com/Horror Hotel. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@papichuloradio.com. Help support Papi Chulo Radio financially by visiting gofundme.com/papichuloradio. Are you interested in joining the Papi Chulo Radio team as an on-air personality or blog contributor? Email talent@papichuloradio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Papi Chulo Radio programs by visiting papichuloradio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through iTunes. Just search for Papi Chulo Radio's Horror Hotel and subscribe. Now, grab some popcorn and some snacks. You may step into the ballroom. It's time for your feature presentation.
Thank you. It's time to fire up the film projector in our ballroom so that we can discuss 2013's The Conjuring. Here's the official synopsis of the film. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren work to help a family terrorized by a dark presence in their farmhouse. So you all know my question. Had you ever seen 2013's The Conjuring before? Donovan.
Yes, I have seen The Conjuring before.
Cynthia.
Yes, many a times.
And yes, I have as well.
Many a times?
Not many a times, but I've seen it a couple times. I saw it for the very first time when it was released like on demand.
Okay.
Yeah. Cynthia apparently watches it every month, but
Apparently. He's watching it now.
I know, because it only came out in 2013, and she's seen it many a times in 4 years.
I've seen it a lot. Like a lot.
All right, let's get into it. So, let's start off with the very beginning of the film, before we get into the family, because we're treated to a story about Annabelle, a possessed doll that demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, specialists in the occult and ghosts and all things creepy crawlies, they have collected. So it's part of their case studies. What'd y'all think of Annabelle?
Well, this is the first time we saw Annabelle, and now she's
Yes.
like a cultural icon.
Phenom.
Yes, everyone knows Annabelle. She's had 2 movies, which I really liked her first one. I haven't seen the sequel to it yet, but it's on my to-do list. But I thought she was like very, 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 very creepy. Like she was traditionally a very like creepy doll. Like we've seen a ton of creepy dolls in horror, Chucky being one of them, or probably the most famous of them. But there have been many.
He now has a cult.
He has a cult, which I saw that and it sucked. But this is definitely, I would say, since the first Child's Play movie, the scariest doll we've been introduced to in horror films. So Annabelle does the damn thing. She's scary. She doesn't move, which I like, and I like that they're sticking to that. I haven't seen the sequel. I hope they stick to it too. I think she's creepier not moving. I do.
Okay. In
It's
real
corny.
life, Annabelle doesn't look anything like that doll.
She's a Raggedy Ann,
Yeah.
I have seen that.
which is silly, but okay.
But she was possessed. I was about to say she was disturbed. She was possessed, though. And disturbing.
She was definitely disturbing. And they also, we'll get into this later, but during this sequence, they set up some rules that they later throw out the window, which is, like I was talking to Cynthia earlier about this movie and how it has some issues. We previously talked about Insidious and sort of like the loosey-goosey rules of that movie where, like, can you jump into a body in 5 minutes if you're a ghost, or maybe it takes longer than that? That's kind of forgivable. Here, I felt like because they were talking about it in a very sort of like matter-of-fact way, like this is the way it is. It stood out a bit more to me. Even the first time I saw it, I was like, hold up, but y'all just said, and now you're saying this. So that aside, Annabelle herself is very, very creepy. It's just a creepy-ass doll, and it's like wooden. Like, who has wooden dolls? Like, even back
And she's
during, like,
gigantic.
she's fucking huge. Like, who played with this? Who? What?
I think those dolls were a thing, though, at a point. Porcelain dolls.
But they're also ugly. Like, porcelain dolls, you can at least see how people would think they were pretty, or at least little girls. But Annabelle is just hideous. Like, what little girl would want to play with this?
Yeah, she wasn't cute either.
Mm-mm. Them bangs? No.
She was beat for the gods, though.
I mean, a
Yeah.
little girl wearing that much damn makeup, she was going somewhere.
I know, toddlers and tiaras.
And she's even more beat in her own movie because you see her when she's like fresh out the box, and she's just like, it's like clown makeup kind of. It's like completely white face, tons of rouge, a red lip on a little girl. Like, really?
She's Beautimus. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Beauty Maximus.
Yes. Alright, so let's meet the family at the center of The Conjuring. We got Mother Carolyn, we got Father Roger, we got a whole bunch of kids, 5 daughters, Andrea, Nancy, Christine, Cindy, and April, and a little dog by the name of Sadie. And so it's always when they move into a new house. Like, you would
Always.
think you'd, like, put some sage, burn it or something, or call the local priest to bless the house or something.
Look, I am a sage fiend. I burn sage when I have house guests leave. Like, there's no way I
Really?
will go into any house without burning sage. Like, you gotta clear that bad juju out.
I don't do that.
Well, it's
Maybe I
because he's
should.
seen too many movies, and he knows that sometimes the house isn't haunted, but the people are.
Yes. Somebody also people feasting. So you gotta like burn some sage and like Febreze
Mm.
everything and get it back to work in order.
Yes, listeners, if you don't have
Oh.
sage, use Febreze. It'll get rid of every ghost in the house.
Okay, I have Febreze. Maybe that's why I haven't been haunted yet, or I
Yes.
think I haven't been
The
Just
I forget what it's called. It's like rain dew or something like that is like the best one.
bless the Febreze. It turns into holy water. It gets rid of everything.
There you go.
haunted.
So it's 1971, and they've moved into this farmhouse in Rhode Island, and this is like when you should notice that something is wrong. But people never listen to the animals because the animals know everything.
Ooh.
Sadie does not want to enter that house.
Well, all right. So we talked about Insidious and
They needed
how
a pet.
easy- What?
Insidious needed a pet.
Well, no, I was talking about the home. The fact that that family in Insidious, they realized that they thought their house was haunted.
Oh, yes.
So they just up and bought a new one. And we're always like, why don't people just do that in movies? But here it was very clear, and they said it. All our money is in this house. We
Yeah,
can't
plus
go
it's
anywhere.
1971.
So that damn dog, I mean, I can get that. Like, bitch, you better get your ass in this house. You know, I mean, I spent everything we got for this.
Yeah.
You're getting in this house.
So, clue number 1 was Sadie not entering the house.
Mm-hmm.
Clue number 2
Did we
was...
get clue number 2?
Hmm?
I think we just went straight to the haunting after that.
Well, no, we got a
Yeah,
clue.
it's-
The clue number 2 is the boarded up entrance to the cellar.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who boards up the
Was
cellar?
I guess that's a clue. I feel like sometimes houses, especially big old ones like that, people board rooms up or they'll repurpose things. So that to me didn't seem too weird that there was a boarded up cellar. But I definitely would have been, maybe you're right, because it's the only cellar in the house. It's like that's where the water heater was. That's where you need access to that room. And the fact that someone boarded it up might be a warning sign.
Mm.
Yeah. Clue number 1.5 might have been that music box.
That creepy ass music box. Although I did think that was the most effective scary thing in the movie. Like the little song, and even at the very end of this movie, the music box pops open and that song starts again. And it's like it was very creepy.
Yeah. And maybe clue number 3 when Sadie starts barking at the house.
Yes.
But Sadie's just being a bitch. I would have just been like, look, this is your home.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Maybe clue number 4 was when she started finding bruises on herself, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then she's like, oh, it's just iron deficiency.
I know, that's
No.
what they thought
Right.
in the 1970s.
The worst doctor ever. Yeah, just take these pills.
Yeah. Let's talk about hide and clap. Had anyone played that before?
No.
I
And no
feel like
one's
they
about
made that up.
It wasn't like very popular in the 1970s.
Well, I wasn't around back then, so I don't know.
Ah, well, I guess that's true.
Guess so.
Yes. But it was like that. I liked it because obviously it sets up for something really good that's about to come. But it was interesting. I've never seen that sort of like rendition of hide and seek. And
You
so
could feel like they were setting it up. Like this, oh, this is gonna come back later. Yeah, you can.
I
Sort
know
of feel
it comes
that.
back in an amazing way that was ruined in the trailers, but it's still kind of neat if you think about it. So things start happening the first few nights. The clocks stop at 3:07 a.m. and probably the saddest moment for me, Sadie's dead.
Girl, bye. I love dogs. I'm a big animal person. Let me just say that.
PETA
But Sadie was being a bitch.
at Donovan Trot on Twitter.
I don't have Twitter.
And on Instagram.
Y'all are gonna be coming after some poor person named Donovan Trot. No, I mean, they didn't establish the dog well enough for me to care. You know, I could see if there was like a scene with them playing with the dog and like loving on the dog, and then, you know, she's dead. But like from the first moment we're introduced to Sadie, she's just barking her head off and being like a little bitch.
Well, Sadie, I felt bad.
She didn't deserve to die.
Well, no, but she was a bitch.
He had to.
So let's talk about the first night that the spirits started to reach out and touch him.
Was this the night when they knocked all the pictures off the wall? Or was she just... Because, all right, so I remember the mom walking through the house.
No, this was before then. This is the one where like they started pulling at the girl's leg.
Oh, yeah. That didn't scare me.
I thought it was creepy. I thought it was well acted. Because I think that effect could have come off like really bad. But I thought it was creepy enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a way to act that and it looked corny.
Yeah, so all the actors, and this was one of the notes that I wrote down, one of the first ones I wrote down, Patrick Wilson, who we also know from the Insidious movies,
yes,
was really, really good. I like him. Vera Farmiga, I love her in everything she's ever done.
Oh, she's amazing.
Mom and she's just
Bates Motel?
really awesome. Yes. So I just think she's a really talented actor, and she plays the hell out of this part. And even the family, like, I liked this family. I liked, minus Sadie, I liked the family. I liked all these kids. All the kids were acted very well. There were no weak links. The parents were very, very nice. These actors, I've seen them all before. I don't know their names, but they've all been in many things, and they were all very, very effective. I felt like this was like a nice, warm family, because like usually you see a scary movie, stuff starts happening to a family and they haven't taken the time to establish anything, and so you really don't care about these people. Like I'll say it again, Paranormal Activity, like I could give a shit what happened to those people. I did. By the end of it, I wanted them to die. I just wanted them to die. This family I liked, and I thought that the arc of this movie, it got very sentimental at one point, and, you know, I cared about the family, I cared about the mom, so everybody was great. The scene with the leg pulling, like, yeah, it's like most Joseph Wan movies where he starts
or
it
James
out
Wan.
very... What?
Joseph Wan, James Wan.
Whoever. Wan. I'm going to call him Wan. He starts his movies out very slowly, like he gives you like little bits of a scare. He doesn't throw you straight into it. So the little leg pulling thing, the little hiding clap, which came later, is scary, but it's not like in your face. You know, he saves that stuff for later. So as far as like a preemptive strike, They've been better in his movies, but I thought it was effective. It didn't scare me, though.
Okay, well, things start getting creepier because, well, first off, Cindy's sleepwalking. Second off, Carolyn starts playing hide and clap, and you know she's looking for the child, and the what do you call it? The wardrobes doors open, and nothing ends up happening. But it's still creepy nonetheless, in my opinion. At one point, she's also like listening to the music box because she's supposed to see something, but we don't see anything. But there was the suspense. But then, late at night, one of the kids is awoken, and again is awakened. Awakened? There you go.
Awakened.
Yes. One of the kids is awakened by the leg pulling again. But this time around, she investigates and looks under the bed, and there's something hiding behind the door. And
But
so
we don't see it.
we don't see it, but she does. Like, she saw it when she looked under the bed. And I was trying to look because I kept on freeze framing, and I'm like, I don't see it. And then she gets the sister to get up, and the sister goes to the door, and like nothing happens, but then the sister looks behind her, and then the door slams shut. And so they're screaming and all this kind of stuff, and it's unsettling and creepy. And then is the scene that you were talking about, Donovan, where Carolyn, goes down into the cellar, and a ball ends up being thrown in her direction, and she uses this is the scene that was seen in the trailers. She uses a match to, light down there, and then, from out of nowhere, a hand claps, and I guess that's enough wind to turn the match off, and so she's locked in the cellar. And while that's going on, Cindy's sleepwalking again, and there's some sort of noise, and so they end up looking into the wardrobe, but there's nothing in the wardrobe, but there's something on top of it.
Yes.
And that bitch jumps down and tackles the girl.
Mm-hmm. Which, do you think, because I had this thought ran through my head, I feel like they showed if you want to call it a monster, we later find out that it's the ghost of some crazy bitch who did some crazy shit. But I felt like they showed her too soon. Like because when she was on the wardrobe and they got that close up, you saw her, and she was scary. But I just felt like they should have pulled back a little bit, and maybe we could have just seen a shadow of something, and then it came at you. I don't know. I just felt like they gave up the goose a little too early.
I can agree with you on that. I wish that they would not have shown like the close up of her face going like if they just would have shown her jump down, that would have been good enough for me. Because like it sort of built up already that something's happening. Because like the pictures were down, Carolyn gets knocked in the face with the door, and then the ball, and then the hands with the clap clap, and so that was spooky enough already. Like I don't feel like we should have seen her face close up because it was like zoomed in.
It did. It got all up in her pupils. I was like, okay, that's what she looks like. Because I feel like when you see anytime you see the monster dead on, you're not so much, like I've said previously, unless it's like, makeup on makeup on makeup. It's like Guillermo del Toro's, like his crazy creatures where you're staring because you're like, oh my God, like how did they do that? If it's literally just a person with like some stuff smeared on their face, I wouldn't get so close up. And we've talked about having this issue with Insidious. Like they got a couple of close-ups of people who were like just wearing makeup where it was like, okay, but you're not like, it doesn't shake you. So I don't know. It's just what Wan does sometimes. You got to go with it.
Wan.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so this is when the Warrens are brought in. And immediately, like, Lorraine ends up, like, seeing stuff. Like, she picked up that music box, and she's looking at ghost children in the music box, and, the reflection behind her. And she goes out to the tree, and she senses shit, and this is when we get sort of like the mythology of the movie. Apparently, the house belonged to a woman that was accused of being a witch, Bathsheba. And she
actually was a witch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was she sacrificed her week-old child to the devil and then killed herself in 1863 after cursing all who would take her land. And so then after that is when there are several reports of murders and suicides in the house. And so ever since the house was built on that property, there's just been death all over the place, basically.
Can I just say I thought it was kind of funny how this whole thing started over like a dispute about land. Like, I mean, yeah, she was a witch and she was crazy and all that, but like they gave all the backstory like after they did all this research and stuff, and they were like, oh, there was like a land dispute and like somebody else wanted her land or something like that, and then she put a curse on the land. I was like, all right, it just struck me because I was like, you see people on Judge Judy like, this is my property and this person, their branches are like over on my land and blah 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 blah. And at no point did they think to like sacrifice their 1 week old child and start a pact with the devil. Like,
So
this
you
bitch
think
really
people
went for it.
should do that instead of going on Judge's Judy?
Maybe. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
I just thought,
Wow.
I just thought it was funny because I was just thinking like, oh, this is like a land dispute type thing, and she maybe just took it a bit too far,
Just a tad.
just a tad.
Yeah, think. Good grief. And so during the time when the Warrens are there sort of investigating, some even creepier things happen because Lorraine is outside, the clouds are coming in, the wind is blowing, there's the laundry, and one of the sheets, blows off the line, and it ends up forming the shape of a figure, and that sheet blows up to a window, and when the sheet falls down or gets blown away, we see Bathsheba inside of the room looking out. And so Lorraine immediately goes into the house, but she's too late. Carolyn was asleep, and she wakes up to Bathsheba straddling her.
Mm.
I know.
And
And
just threw up
she
some.
ended up coming in her mouth. And, yes. It was very Drag Me to Hell. There's a scene like this in Drag Me to Hell.
It was very two girls, one cup.
Yes, two girls, one cup.
Oh, I don't want to think about that right now.
We're talking about horrors. I'm just saying.
Ugh.
Two Girls, One Cup is the horror movie of our time.
Yes, but I will
Yeah.
say, in this scene, I thought this scene was done very well because you see that the spirit, sort of like grabs her arm and then, is hovering above her and spits some blood or whatever inside her mouth. But I thought, versus the close-up shot that we saw when she was on top of the wardrobe getting ready to go into Narnia,
Mm-hmm.
I thought
Oh.
she looked cooler here, and I thought this was a little bit better of a tease of her look because of how it was shot. You didn't really see her full face. You saw her from
Yeah.
the side. You saw her face, but because Carolyn's head is sort of like blocking some of it, like you don't really get a good look at her, and I thought it was much more effective and creepy.
I agree. It's like going back to the whole don't show me the whole thing, or at least not so soon. You got to build up to it. Like, did you see that movie Mama?
Yes.
That ghost was really, really good. They actually had a very similar story to this. And it was a very well done. I actually think that was a Guillermo del Toro movie. So the creature in it, Mama, she was very well done, but they didn't show her right away. Like you didn't see her until like the last act of the movie. Before that, it was just like you would see maybe parts of her coming out, or you would see her arm, or like she was like out of frame. So you knew she was there, but you didn't see her. So, it's always, like, we can belabor this point a lot, but, like, it's just always better to get part of it than the whole thing. Because your imagination is going to create something way scarier than anybody will ever be able to create physically.
Yeah, that's true. And so Lorraine rushes up the stairs looking for Carolyn, and Karen's like, "Oh, I'm okay. I'm good. I slept it off. I feel great." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Lorraine,
He's
you in
in
danger,
there.
girl."
Danger. Mhm.
At that
Yeah.
point, I was like, "You're possessed. You're done. Like that's the end. Bye. Thank you for showing up."
Bye.
Yeah, basically. And so they do, a what do you call it? Like a spiritual search of the house or something. Like they, what do you call
they're
that?
they're looking for like hot spots or like when they describe it as like when the temperature changes, the equipment starts picking stuff up or something like that. I don't know. I think it's based on like actual technology because these are real people. So I think this is probably some of the methods that they really did use.
Is
Um,
yeah.
Thankfully, this house didn't have central air or like AC or anything, and just kicked on, and then all the equipment starts going crazy.
I
Like
know, right?
it was like the '70s, and no one had that.
And so while they're doing that, basically paranormal activity starts happening.
Ugh.
And at one, their ghosts are popping out, like Cindy's getting lured into the wardrobe and whatnot, and Lorraine ends up finding a secret passage in the wardrobe, and it basically leads her down into the cellar because she falls through the secret passage. Well, I should rephrase that because she ends up finding stuff like spooky stuff, like nooses and all that kind of stuff, and then she falls into the cellar, and there she has the music box, and she's using the music box to see the spirits. She ends up seeing this rotund, pleasantly plump woman
Oh,
killing somebody,
Well,
stabbing.
no, she didn't. I don't think she was. She killing anyone? I think. Oh
yeah, she
yeah, I think.
just killed her Rory.
Yeah, the little boy.
White names.
That was his mom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was one of the women that Bathsheba possessed to kill
Yeah.
her child.
First of all, can we talk about how like biblical that name is, and then it's like this horrible human being or ghost demon.
Well,
But like
those
it's such a
those were the
biblical name.
names from back in the day.
Yeah, but like when you think about, do you guys know anything about Bathsheba?
Mm-mm.
Tell us, is she friends with
Okay.
Harpo?
Child.
So Bathsheba was married to this soldier in the Bible, and then David, the king, the man after God's own heart, sees her as she's bathing downstairs in the courtyard. And then he's like, I must have that woman. So he basically sends her husband to war to die so that he could have sex with her.
How does the story end up?
Does he have
Um,
sex with her?
yeah, he has sex with her. He has a child with her. And then he prays to God for forgiveness. And because God loves him so much, he forgives him. But
Aw.
there's no other mention of her in the rest of the Bible.
Child.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly like this movie.
Yeah.
Exactly. Perfectly fits.
Yeah.
Yes. Because then it could be like, that's the son that she had. And, now she's like, I don't want this child. God, you can have him back.
Or the
No.
devil.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. And so she ends up seeing the spirit. She ends up seeing the spirit, obviously, down there. And there's this really neat set piece where, like, the spirit's pulling her by her necklace, and, well, like, that whole scene with, like, the spirit's feet dangling. Like, I thought what we were seeing is sort of like the spirit, like almost like an imprint of what happened, like the spirit committed, like the person that's a spirit, but like when they were alive, like when they committed
Yeah.
suicide.
Yeah.
but then it turns into a creepy way because like the body ends up turning around and ends up
Yeah.
sort of like floating in Lorraine's direction. But Lorraine does escape, but then like the all of the crosses in the house start like falling down, and then one of the kids is attacked by the hair and ends up getting
Oh,
a haircut.
Well,
dang.
uh, so there's like two parts. The movie splinters itself a bit, which is where we get some of the stuff that I had an issue with. So in that scene, Lorraine loses her necklace that her daughter gave her earlier in the movie. So you're sort of seeing their
Mhm.
daughter at the house,
Yeah.
and you're seeing them at the daughter at their house, and then Lorraine and Ed are at the haunted house, and it's sort of like the storylines are like running parallel.
Yeah.
Um, while they were at their house, there is a scene where the guy Ed is describing, he's showing, I guess, a reporter around their like
Mhm.
trophy room, and like,
Yeah.
that's where they store Annabelle and all this other stuff. And the guy asks him, why don't you just burn all this shit, if it's all like, because he explains that like there's a demon or a ghost or something attached to all these different things, kind of like
Yeah.
Annabelle. But in the first scene, when they're giving this lecture and talking to this classroom full of kids, Lorraine kind of explains to somebody that objects can't be possessed, only people can be possessed. So it's kind of like, I was just kind of struggling with it, because it's like, all right, so things can't be possessed, but you can't get rid of Annabelle or any of this other stuff because it's like possessed.
No,
It was just kind
I
of,
think it's not like possessed, it's attached to the object. So like you burning the object just releases it basically and
well,
leaves
if
it
it's,
free.
but like, all right, so I don't understand the difference between possession and attachment, but like the way it was shook out, it was like, we can't destroy these objects because it'll release a spirit. But then she says earlier that demons can't uh, possess objects. It was just,
Okay,
I don't know. I was just
Well, I
having an
think
issue
because
with it.
possession means that they take over,
take
take
go
you
in.
over.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I
Well,
guess
I
that's why what they're trying to distinguish, like a spirit can be attached to an object, but the spirit can't enter the object, unlike it can a human.
I
Maybe?
just felt
Um
like the nomenclature, like there was just
yeah.
too, like some movies don't give you enough to where you can really feel like you know what's going on, but then other movies give you maybe a bit too
Too
much.
Too
much.
much.
So I felt like with
Oh,
this, I was sort of stuck, like trying to figure out like the difference between possession and attachment and all this other stuff. And it does make sense to a degree because they teach this stuff, and they have to like give a ton of exposition because they're like, and that's probably how these people really were in real life, like walking around trying to like explain the differences and all that
yeah.
stuff. I just felt like it was a bit too much information for me. And it sort of like pulled me out of the movie a little bit because I'm like, all right, well, didn't you say, like, so I don't know. I just felt like it was a little bit, maybe too much of that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my point.
Well, since
Do
you
you
brought up
remember when
Judy, let's talk about Judy.
Judy, she's so pretty.
The Warren's daughter, Judy, ends up getting all of it. It's a stormy night. We've got the necklace hanging from. I'm going to assume that's like a lamp, maybe.
maybe?
Something. In the house?
Yeah, in her house, and it starts
Well, I think,
spinning.
or was that Judy's necklace or the
No,
necklace at the haunted house? Because I know they
it
each had
was
one.
the necklace at the haunted house.
Okay. All right.
But it's in Judy's room.
Was
I
it?
think it was just like cut to look that way. But it was, remember when Lorraine is like running upstairs and it yanks, like they
Yeah.
take it?
Correct.
So
No,
it
but
was
I
the
Definitely.
next,
think it being there is the hint that something's gonna happen.
yeah,
And
That
so,
this is the
because that
attachment.
necklace was a silver necklace. Judy's necklace was a gold necklace. I've watched this so many times. I
You've seen
remember
it many times. Don't test
many,
Cynthia on it.
many a times.
I believe it. And so Judy goes down to investigate, and Annabelle is gone.
Yeah. And how is she moving?
Well, there is a reason. I'm getting to that. And so, how is she moving?
Come with it. Come with it.
And so she like rushes back up to her room and shuts the door. And then in the rocking chair is Bathsheba with Annabelle. And Annabelle turns her head and all hell breaks loose.
And then the grandma's like, what's going on? And then blah, 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 blah. So I would have liked, speaking of all the different rules and all the stuff that they laid out, I would have liked a little bit more information on, like, I mean, you get that Sheba has somehow attached to Lorraine or to transported to Judy because of this necklace. Like there's a link somehow and she's sort of using that to get to their house. But
Yeah.
it's just like, is she full strength at their house? Is this just like a, can she just like make things move, but she can't actually do anything? Like, is she like partial strength when she's like haunting Judy as
I
opposed
think
to
she
her?
was like first stage for that. Remember how the Warrens were like their 3 stages?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
so I think
I'm just trying to keep all the rules straight because it's like, how did Sheba know where they live?
I love how you just use her nickname, Sheba.
Sheba girl, Sheba baby. How did that's actually a really good play, Come Home Sheba Baby or something like that. But anyway, I just wanted an explanation of how she was able to get from haunting this family to haunting their family.
I agree.
And
I didn't get that at all either. Like I was
no, but I
confused
think she
as
took
to
a break, right?
well, because the thing is, at this point, she had possessed Carolyn.
Yes, she was in Carolyn.
So how did she manage to astral project herself into the Warrens' house?
I guess you can possess and depossess. Like she's
It's
like,
just-
okay, Caroline, give me a moment, please. I will be right back.
I'll be back.
Life miserable.
She was just a lot of different places, and it was scary.
You know what? Maybe it was the first time she's been out the house, so she needed to go do some errands.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm in a motel. We got the free comfy robes and those little teeny tiny soaps. Let me go see what the Warrens are doing.
Yeah.
I just would have liked a little bit more of an explanation. Like maybe Lorraine could have spelt it out. Like, because I got the sense that because she saw like, all right, so Sheba got possession of this necklace that Lorraine
Bathsheba.
dropped, and then you see Judy in the water, and you're like, oh, she's using that image to freak Lorraine out. But then she's actually at their house. So
maybe she uses the connection.
I would have liked
don't
an
know.
explanation.
I mean,
Oh,
now you're making me ask questions. No.
no, but that's how I was.
No.
I was watching this movie, and I was like, but how is that? Like, how can she? It was just like, I don't know. I was just like asking myself all these questions as it was happening. It was all good. It was scary, and I felt it. It wasn't like hollow. Like, oh, y'all are going to try to scare me now. I was really like, oh my gosh, she's at their house. What's going on? But like when I actually stopped to think, I'm like,
with
all
that
right,
ratty hair, she left that chair smelling. I'm glad that she broke it because I would have never sat in it. It smelled like shit probably.
Febreze.
Oh.
I know, Febreze, it does work.
Holy water Febreze.
Yes. The thing I will give you points for, Donovan, is like the concept of Annabelle moving her head. That did confuse me as well because like when we saw like Annabelle and like the whole Miss Me notes and like her having like completely wrecked that room and the lipstick and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I just assumed that since there's a spirit attached to it, obviously the spirit was doing it. Like, I didn't picture in my head, like a Chucky, basically like Annabelle getting up and sashaying her way and,
Yeah.
grabbing lipstick and writing Miss Me and all that, or crayons and, I should say, writing Miss Me and that kind of thing. Like, I didn't picture that. Like, I pictured like the spirit doing it.
Yeah.
But then when Annabelle turns her head, I was like, that just made it seem very Chucky.
Yeah. I don't need Annabelle to move. And
She's creepy enough as she is.
But yeah.
So this is when shit really hits the fan. And it's not because we're smelling Bathsheba. So Carolyn ends up taking 2 of the kids home. She is fully possessed. And she's ready to sacrifice one of her kids. But they get to her just in time. And they realize, obviously, that Carolyn is fully possessed because her skin pigmentation is changing.
She's looking just like Sheba nowadays.
I know, right? And she ends up getting dragged through the house, and she ends up, what does she do? She bit the guy's face off?
No,
Yes.
just a part of his face,
Yeah.
Just a little
Foreplay.
taste. Yeah.
Just a little
Not the whole
taste.
thing. She just wanted a taste.
Yeah.
I know, right? Tastes just like chicken.
This whole sequence was really good. I liked the whole... I mean, the one thing about it was, like, they sent the family away to, like, some motel or something, and then one of the kids went back, or so I forget exactly how it happened, but I felt like the chase sequence and all that stuff, I liked that, but once they actually got to the house and she's like being flung around and like, all that stuff, that I thought was very scary, and like you were seeing the full power of this entity,
In Bathsheba.
Yeah, wrecking shit. Just like, look, I told y'all motherfuckers I was not playing. I told you to get out. You didn't want to leave. You got a subprime mortgage loan or whatever, and you can't afford to go, and now this is what's happening. So I enjoyed it.
That didn't exist in 1971.
Well, hey.
But close enough. And so for the longest, the Warrens were actually going to do an exorcism. Like, they talked about it earlier in the movie, but they had to wait.
Yeah.
I know that. Churches are the most annoying place.
The
Like,
Catholic
seriously.
Church has to authorize it. They need proof and stuff.
They need these paper signed, stamped. You gotta, it's like the DMV.
Exactly. You need to wait to get the Febreze. But they're basically like, fuck it. Like, we need to exercise right now. Let's get physical.
Let's get physical.
Let's get our exercise on.
They laid hands.
Yes, and so they start exercising Carolyn with a little cardio, light cardio first. Because she started doing those flips in the chair. Can I just say I love that moment so much?
Yeah.
Yes.
A very simple effect, yet it did not look cheesy at all. It looked really good and very creepy.
But could you imagine, like, if somebody was actually possessed and stuff, it would be kind of like that, kind of like The Exorcist. That's what The Exorcist did well. And I'm sure a lot of it, like, if that movie was made today, I'm sure they would have went all out with the special effects and, like, things going crazy. But, like, the sort of natural way that it unfolds is, I think, what makes it so creepy. And this movie did a lot of that as well. She wasn't like floating in midair and flying around the room like, with wings and like crazy glowing eyes. And
On
like,
a broom.
It was like something unholy is attached to this person, and they're like, it just felt like if a person was possessed, this is what it would look like.
If I was possessed, that's what it would look like.
Yes, except sexier.
Exactly.
And so, Carolyn ends up escaping. Oh, can I just say, there were a lot of really great moments. throughout this whole thing, like the birds outside, the pipes shaking, when
Yes.
when like the
Yeah.
screws unscrewing, when Carolyn ended up, peeking through the sheet and she started to do her little "Here's Johnny." I
Yeah.
love that so much.
hmm
There are a lot of little things in that scene that just made it spectacular. But she ends up escaping, and she ends up finding April, and she tries to kill April, but the power of Vera Farmiga compels her.
Okay. Vera came. She came to play. She was not. She was like, "Look, you brought my child into this. I'm banishing you.
Yep.
This is no longer a game." And so this whole scene where they're like, you know, they're it was almost like a intervention kind of. It was very similar to that. Like she's
Exactly,
there.
that's what happens during all
Uh,
interventions.
her husband's there. She's like, think about your family, picture your family, and then it gets back to the part where they're talking about the day on the beach, which they talked about earlier, and how lovely it was. Hold on to your family, like that part. It could have read cheesy in anyone else's direction, but here it felt, I enjoyed it. It felt real. It touched me, and I
Touched
liked.
him.
Show us on the bear where it touched you.
Mm.
Show us on Annabelle where it touched you.
Oh.
No, but it worked. It was effective. And like I've talked about how in these horror movies, if you don't care about these people, then the movie suffers because you really you could care less about what's happening. But because I cared about this family, and all the actors really brought this family to life, like those scenes where like she's like, think about your family, pull through, whatever. And I saw myself like, yes, girl, think about your family, come on. Yeah. So it was like a very sweet, still kind of scary, but it read to me. It felt, it was effective.
I agree. And so they are able to bring her back from the brink, and they remove Bathsheba and the curse and everything. And, even what was he, deputy officer, the one that got his, his cheek chomped on, he's alive, everyone's alive, none of the kids died, and
Mm-hmm.
everything is beautiful and wonderful. So
Kinda.
well, the Warrens end up talking about some case that they have on Long Island. I wonder what that's about.
Mm.
And they bring back the music box as, sort of like a trinket, um, from their encounter with the family. And the music box opens. It starts playing the music. We're staring at the mirror. We think we're going to see something. And fade to black.
That's
I
it.
know. I was hoping we were going to see like Annabelle dancing, like the dancing boy over on Insidious.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad we didn't get anything. It was once again sort of playing against type because you're expecting something to happen and it doesn't. So I
Yeah.
liked that moment, and I was kind of
Although, since
what
all those things are supposedly haunted, it would have been nice for like all of them to like peek through or something.
Wow.
that'd have been too much.
Well, probably, yeah. But continue
I
on, Donovan.
yeah, I mean, hey, to each their own.
Hey.
Um, for me, I liked it. I enjoyed the way it ended, and I was kind of like, all right, so I guess the little boy is attached to that music box because Sheba has been banished. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking, like, what spirit is like? But then he wasn't dangerous, the little boy.
Yeah.
No, he was
So
just adorable.
So maybe
yeah,
he'll become Judy's friend. And then maybe he's like, oh, your mom's so nice. I want her. Mm.
Child.
Oh.
Cynthia's writing a whole new movie.
Mm. If they make a movie about that, you better pay me, people who wrote this one.
Intellectual property. That's her idea.
Right.
Okay. All right now, people. Y'all know. Don't fuck with Cynthia's coins. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Look, we don't play.
I know. So let's check and see if The Conjuring has won any awards. And, by Jove, it has. Quite a few, actually. Over at the Rondo Haddon Classic Horror Awards in 2013, it won the Rondo Statuette Best Film. At the People's Choice Awards in 2014, it was nominated Favorite Horror Movie. At the Online Film and Television Association, it won the OFTA Film Award for Best Titles Sequence. At the MTV Movie Awards in 2014, it was nominated for Best Scared as Shit Performance. Vera Farmiga. I don't know what that means.
Favorable. She was very scared as shit.
Apparently.
She's scared as shit. It's like right there.
Yes. Over at the Key Art Awards in 2013, it won third place at the Key Art Award. Best Trailer Audio Visual. Best Audiovisual Technique. Best Audiovisual Technique again for the sound design in the trailer. And Best Audio-Visual Technique for the sound design in the third trailer. I don't really know what any of that means. Over at the IGN Summer Movie Awards in 2013, it won the IGN Award for Best Horror Movie. At the Golden Trailer Awards in 2014, it won the Golden Trailer for Best Horror and Best Horror TV Spot. And it was also nominated for Best Voice-Over TV Spot. At the Golden Schmoes Awards in 2013, it won the Golden Schmoes for Best Horror Movie of the Year. I just like saying Golden Schmoes. At the Fright Meter Awards in 2013, it won the Fright Meter Award for Best Director, Best Supporting Actress, Lily Taylor, Best Cinematography, Best Ensemble Cast, and Best Horror Movie. It also had several nominations, including Best Makeup, Best Special Effects, Best Actress, Vera Farmiga, Best Actor, Patrick Wilson, Best Supporting Actor, Ron Livingston, Best Screenplay, Best Score, and Best Editing. At the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards in 2014, it won the Chainsaw Award for Best Wide Release Film and Best Supporting Actress, Lily Taylor. At the Empire Awards in the UK in 2014, it won the Empire Award for Best Horror. And at the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films Awards in 2014, it won the Saturn Award for Best Horror Film. Now, over on Rotten Tomatoes, bim, bim, bim.
Rotten Tomatoes stresses me out.
I don't know. In its tomato meter, it is certified fresh, 86%.
Come through.
Okay.
That's a good score.
Guess
Yeah,
so.
because they're picky bitches.
We
But
just like our shit fresh.
I know, right? But our awards are the ones that really count. And so
Yep.
let's hand out a few of our own. And let's start off with the diva, Bathsheba.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'll go with Annabelle on this one.
Oh, I was going to
Well-
give her the ingenue. Or maybe
Judy.
not.
Yeah.
I'll give Judy the ingenue.
Aw, Judy.
Judy.
Scream Queen, Lorraine.
Lorraine.
Did she scream very much?
Remember the flashback?
Close enough.
Okay.
That was mine.
I'll give it to her.
The Mickey Rooney Award for Excellence in Child Acting. Cindy with the
little
sleepwalking.
blonde girl. Is that the sleepwalker girl too?
Oh, you like the one with the music box.
Yeah.
No, I would give it to the Sleepwalker. She also played Renesmee in the Twilight movies.
Who gives a shit about Twilight?
Don't come for Twilight.
Donovan.
We will be fighting.
Lord Renesmee.
Y'all already fight.
We will be. I will. Hey, drop.
But
I
we
will
fight
go
in
to
a playful
Florida.
way.
Yeah. Is this a real fight? I hope not.
No chocolate, no rice.
No chocolate, no rice. Don't come for Renesmee.
Lord.
The bar.
The creepiest moment.
Ooh.
I'll give it to the little boy in the mirror. That was
Okay.
creepy.
I would give it to when Lauren first sees the woman hanging off of the tree, and she just like turns a little bit, and her husband is talking, and you can hear like the swinging of the tree,
Yeah, but they
and
don't
you're
show it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was a good moment. Yeah, but I'm gonna give, for me at least, the creepiest moment to Big Bertha
Big Bertha.
in the
Wow, she has
cellar.
a name now.
She was creepy. Although the
She
woman
was,
dangling, like that was good. That was good because like Lorraine was shooked from that moment.
it was really all her face. It was just
Yeah.
Yeah,
like you could
such
see
a
on
good
her face.
actress.
What the hell? But then again, isn't she supposed to be seeing this stuff all the time? Like she's seen demons and all that stuff, and this is how
That is
shook it was.
true. But maybe this was
Yeah,
like too much. It's like one too many.
Maybe.
And what was the scariest moment? Because I feel like creepy and scary are different things.
mm,
See, this movie didn't have as many scares for me, and I'm thinking it's because Wan Wan has a very particular style. It's an excellent style. It's very well done. He's a great director. But once you're accustomed to his style, you can begin to sort of read things and sort of tell. You can see it coming, basically.
Yes, I love how you change his name every time that you say it.
one.
Wan Wan.
I know Juan
Wan Wan.
Juan. It was. I think you called him Johnny Juan or something like that. At one
Yeah.
point.
He's just Wan Wan.
James.
I kind of also feel like had I seen this movie before I saw Insidious, that it would have been a little bit more effective. Because I feel like the pacing and the way they lead up to a lot of the scares is the same. So in this film, I felt like I could see a lot of it coming. So it didn't really scare me as much. But I am curious, like, had I not seen Insidious first, would this have, because I couldn't have seen them coming, would it have scared me more? So I mean, I don't know. It's like hard for me to like pick a scary moment out of this.
Mine was definitely when she's looking on the bed,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, okay, there's something there, and I'm like trying to tilt my head to see what it is she's looking at. That was scary.
Okay. See, that one I would say was creepy for me. Like the very first time that I saw this, for me the scary moment, at least at the beginning, was like the bitch when she was on top of the wardrobe. Like even though I have complained that that was a bit much to show, like that was unexpected, and so I kind of liked it. What about the barf bag moment? And I'm giving it to when she skeeted
Yeah,
in her mouth.
yeah.
Did you say seated? What did you
Skeeted.
say?
Ah, skeet, 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 skeet.
Seated. Oh my
I
god.
can never listen to that song normally again. Thank you.
I know, right?
He has this way of just like corrupting things.
To the window,
And
to the walls, to the sweat
Um,
drop down.
yeah, don't finish.
balls.
I know, right?
Here she comes. Goriest moment. I don't know.
I hope that was like raspberry jam and like it tasted good in that
It
scene.
did not look
Oh
like it tasted good.
no, I don't
No, I'm
think.
saying in like
Oh,
real
I
life
do.
when they were filming.
But that stuff, like, if you hear things about, like, the way they make movies, it's usually, like, some sort of weird syrup, and it's, like, it's all for the look of it. Like, it's never meant to taste well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Um, hell, I didn't, it didn't really feel gory for me, this movie, or, like, there wasn't any gross out moment for me. Like, maybe the moment that's closest is the one that you mentioned, but other than that, I can't really identify one.
Okay. What about the moment that made you gag?
Mm, not really.
When that bitch was in the rocking chair,
Not
That was
really. Still.
she was combing Annabelle.
Maybe
That ratty ass.
maybe Annabelle is the daughter she wished she had.
I know, Annabelle should have been combing her, if
Oh,
you think about it. Because Annabelle actually had good hair. Like, Bathsheba, No bueno.
Oh,
Bathsheba
okay.
needed a bath
She needs some.
and a good dental plan.
Oh,
Well, I mean, she is like rotting, so.
Well, there's that.
You spritz all the perfume on that you want.
I know, you can't Febreze the shit out of her. All right. And I'll throw this in for good measure because it is a film that takes place in the 70s. That's so retro moment.
the car, the
Mm-hmm.
camera equipment,
Mm-hmm.
the
There,
hair.
there was a moment where their teenage daughter was like flirting with that Asian guy that was
Oh
set up for the
yeah.
cameras. And as they were doing that, they were like using it. I think they were talking about like some recording equipment or something like that, and they were using some like, oh, that's kind of groovy or like blah blah blah. Like the words
Yes.
they were using, the slang. It was I was like, that's
It
definitely
reminded you of your childhood?
don't come for me. Don't come for me.
Unless I send for you.
FedEx overnight.
All right. Now it's time to rank the film in our special categories. We've got Screamer, films that are filled with scares, Gutbuster, films that are grotesque, Eye Popper, films that are visually impressive, Gravedigger, films that lack scares, and Mind Blower, overall best in show. Let's start off with Boyede.
Okay. So I will give this a screamer and eye popper just because I really enjoyed the way the shots were cut. It just made a lot of sense. Like I felt like I was in the car when they were driving up to the house. Just a lot of parts I felt like I was part of the movie.
I thought you were in the movie for a moment.
I'm Bathsheba. Didn't you know that?
Oh my gosh.
Or
No, her
say
hair would be laid for the gods if it
this
was
Okay.
you.
is this is true. True. Gutbuster, just that part where she throws up into her mouth, and then the end when she's like throwing up on the floor. I just hate seeing puke anywhere. And Mind Blower, it was a great movie. It was really beautifully shot. I like that, like when movies are like set back in time, sometimes there are things they do that you're just like, yeah, this is not believable, but it was. So yes, it did really well for me. And Donovan, you better give it a mind blower too.
Ooh, was that a threat? That was a Jeff. She's threatening me.
I know, she's gonna send Bathsheba to your house to
I
give
don't
you a
Yep,
bath.
like.
I have her. I have her number.
Ooh.
Yes, she's on Snapchat.
This is true. She's always twerking.
That
She
twerk.
is twerking. What is up with the ghost twerking? I don't know. Donovan, what about you? Not necessarily about ghost twerking, but the
Right.
categories.
That's another topic for another day. Um. So y'all know I keep it real
For the young ones, like Miss Cleo
Wow.
used to.
for
I
the
keep it real
children,
for the young ones.
for the children's, for the kids. So I'm going to give this movie an eye popper. It was definitely well done. I'm sure there were a lot of special effects here. I mean, I know there were like just the sheet and then the there was a lot, but it felt natural as it was happening. It wasn't like, look at this, effect that we can do, or look, we got some money in our budget. Let's do that. It felt like it all happened very naturally, and that's the part of it that I enjoyed, because you can tell a lot of care went into this movie, like all of Wong Wong's movies. Sometimes you see a movie and it's like everybody's just there for the check. You can tell it's something about it that's just lazy.
Yeah.
This was crafted very well, and I appreciated it, and you could see it. So I liked that a lot. So I'll give it an eye popper for that. As far as the scares go, it was light on the scares for me. I felt like I could read a lot of them coming. And then when we did get a lot of the scares or the moments that were supposed to be scary, they weren't as effective for me this go round. And at first, I just sort of like, I mean, I talked to you guys about how I wasn't sure if it was because I've been exposed to Wan Wan's previous work and maybe I was sort of getting used to it. But I was just thinking about The Conjuring 2, which I actually thought was a little bit better than this one. As far as like scary goes, I mean, that movie scared me several times, especially the Crooked Man and the scene where the little girl is like watching TV at home by herself and there's a ghost, and it's like there were some really scary moments there that weren't in this one. So I don't necessarily think it's the style, but maybe just like it was just lacking some of those big scares. So I'm saying all that to say I'm giving it a Gravedigger because to me it was light on the scares.
Wow.
I wasn't scared.
You love a
but
creepy nun. That's just the
Wow.
problem.
It was creepy. This movie was creepy throughout. I appreciated the uneasy feeling it gave me, but it was kind of like foreplay without the actual, it was like it's ramping me up, but then it didn't deliver any like actual scares. Like I wasn't viscerally scared. And having said that, like I like the movie. I've seen it several times, but the reasons that I like this movie are because I like the actors. The story is interesting to me, even though it's a little bit confusing how some of the mechanics of it all work. But I enjoy the movie, but not because it scares me. So yeah.
How could
Keep it
that
moving.
either not scare you?
It just didn't. I don't know. And like I could give it more of a pass because, like if it was just like Wan's direction and all that, like I could sort of be like, all right, well, this is his style and it can only really work on you once or twice before you sort of like start to see it all coming. But The Conjuring 2 really did scare me like several times. Like, and it's a very similar premise. It's a family in a house. They're being haunted. Somebody gets possessed. Yeah. It's very similar. The scares were there for that one, and they weren't here for this one. So I'm not sure. Maybe they just spent so much time building up this universe, and they had so many rules and exposition, and I was just sort of like sidetracked by that. So I wasn't as into it because I was thinking. And the second one came along, and they weren't explaining everything. They were just sort of letting it roll. Maybe that was it. I don't know. Maybe it's me. But it's just, this one didn't scare me.
Okay. So you're more scared of Dolores Van Cartier.
Who?
The nun.
Oh, that's the actress that played her.
No, that's the name of the nun.
That's not her. Stania.
That is. It's from Sister Act.
Who? Why do you talk about Sister Act?
Because
there are nuns
there are nuns in it. Well, there you go. All right, so I am going to give it a screamer. Not necessarily because I screamed, but I thought it was creepy enough that it deserved the screamer category title. I will give it eye popper because I thought the sets looked really good, as Cynthia mentioned, like the cinematography, the effects I thought were really good, the makeup, especially like turning Carolyn all creepy. I thought all of that was really well done. Gutbuster solely for the vomit scene because that shit was gross. Well, also Bathsheba, she looked like she smelled, as well as like the Big Bertha in the cellar. And Mind Blower because it was just awesome. Like, this is a movie that once again, much like Insidious, like launched a franchise, sequels, in between quels, mid quels, side quels, spin-offs, and all that kind of stuff. It seems like every single ghost in either the first or the second one is getting its own movie. Like the Crooked Man is getting his own movie, the Nun is getting her own movie, Annabelle got her own movie. movies. So, mind blower for sure. And now it's time to rate the film on a 1 to 10 hotel room key scale. And let's see.
Gail, Cynthia.
I
Boyade,
I
you may go
heard.
first.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to stick with the rules this time and give it only a 10 because that's all I can do. And for the same reasons why I gave it a mind blower and an eye popper, I think this is one of the scary movies. And because I've watched it so many times and I had to watch this again and talk about it, I was more aware of certain things and I was looking for more things that had to do with like the filming of the video, of the movie, and like how it's edited. And I liked the style of editing in the video. In the movie, why do I keep calling it a video? And
Because you
like the
watched it on
shot,
VHS?
yes, tape on tape. Yeah, and just like the shots of everything, the outfits, the music, it was just really well put together and it wasn't, as Donovan mentioned, scary for scary's sake. I know you said you didn't like the explanations, but I kind of did.
Hmm.
And yeah, I like the explanations for a lot of things. And I kept on thinking about Paranormal Activity when I was watching this.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
'cause just because like you get
As you should.
explanations, yes,
Lord
explanations,
Jesus.
and you also get like the whole attachment versus obsession, possession thing. Like you got visuals to back that up too. I really liked it. Really liked it. Really, really liked it. Like too liked it. Okay, that's it. That's all.
Cynthia liked it.
And I put a ring on it.
Oh, not a necklace?
Nah, I think I'm safer with a ring.
Yes, I agree. Donovan, Mr. Trot.
Yes, sir. I'll give this movie a solid 7.
Oh,
And it
Oh.
wasn't that I didn't like the explanations of it, like Cynthia said. It's just there is a fine line. Maybe it just
Oh, wait,
maybe
so she was committing slander?
yes, slander on my name. Don't do it.
I'm sorry.
I just felt maybe it was a bit too much. There is a fine line of it. Like there are movies like Paranormal Activity, which give you nothing. And then there are
We
movies
keep
like this.
conjuring up paranormal activity.
It's just the gift that keeps giving, I guess. It's the what not to do, basically. And then there are movies like this which throw the kitchen sink at you and they give you everything, and it's so there's like a rule for everything, and maybe I got sidetracked with that, but I don't know. It's just like so 7, great acting, great direction. Just the scares weren't there for me. Like the visceral scares, the jump out of your seat moments weren't there for me like they have been, like with Insidious, for example, The Conjuring 2 after this. I just felt like those moments that really pop you out of your seat were not there for me. But everything else about this movie I really like. It's a really good movie, and it was very well made.
Okay.
What do you
Well,
have, man?
no, I like it. You live in your truth.
Yeah, all I can do.
I know, right? I am going to give this. I know, pregnant pause. It just gave birth to another pause. No, I'm going to give it 10. Because, listen, I get it. It wasn't really scary, but it is creepy enough. It is a creepy movie. I thought the ghosts were really good. I thought the storyline was really good. The acting, I mean, Vera Farmiga is just amazing. And the effects were really good. I enjoyed the mythology. I enjoyed the introduction to Annabelle. And I like that it set up all these other movies. And
Yeah.
I just thought thought it was a fun movie. Does it have its flaws? Yes, but for the most part, it is very entertaining and enjoyable. So I'm giving it 10 hotel room keys. Let's go up to the penthouse, Cynthia.
Yeah, catch me outside, Donovan. How about that?
Ooh, okay. Is your girl Sheba gonna be with you?
Yeah, always.
All right, because I'll bring Annabelle and we'll see what's going on.
They can scissor.
Oh my God.
You just gotta take it. Oh my God.
Wow.
Who's taking it there? Just nasty.
I know. Well, if you've seen a haunted house with Marlon Wayans, then you've seen it all.
You take it there.
Just dirty. Just nasty.
So on that note, please drag your bodies away from the ballroom and prepare to check out. Join us next time for a brand new installment of Horror Hotel. Once again, here's one of our bellhops with a few special announcements.
Good evening. We thank you for your patronage. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PCR Horror Hotel. Follow Panpichulo Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube, at Panpichulo Radio. For more information on Horror Hotel, visit panpichuloradio.com/Horror Hotel. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@panpichuloradio.com. Help support Panpichulo Radio financially by visiting gofundme.com/panpichuloradio. Are you interested in joining the Panpichulo Radio team as an on-air personality or blog contributor? Email talent@panpichuloradio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Panpichulo Radio programs by visiting panpichuloradio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through iTunes. Just search for Panpichulo Radio's Horror Hotel, and subscribe. We hope you've brought your death certificate. Make final arrangements now.
Thank you, my fellow Horror Hotel team. Please wish our hotel guests and the listeners a good night.
Good night, everybody. Catch me outside, Cynthia.
Yeah,
How about
we're going
that?
to
Need to
go
throw
have
them
hot.
dukes up.
Don't worry, Cynthia's got Bathsheba and Big Bertha in her corner.
Yes, I do.
Oh, come on with it. Come on with it. I'm not scared.
Well, thanks for tuning in. You may have checked into the Horror Hotel, but who says you're allowed to check out? Good night.